Yeah, I actually had that happen to me. I was speaking at an event in Missouri, and we were talking something about Google Ads or whatever. And the guy said that doesn't work. People in the country don't use Google. And I said, what? He said, people in the country don't really use Google. And I said, that's interesting. So I kept on with my presentation and went for about 10 more minutes. And then out of nowhere, I said, hey, real quick, man, can you tell me how far we are from the restaurant tonight? I want to make sure I wrap up on time. He immediately goes to Google, looks, gets the distance. And I said, I rest my case. People in the country use Google. Now let's go on with the rest of the presentation. But, it's interesting because I think that there's a lot of that in our industry specifically, because Abe, you can speak to this. You were definitely, I'm 50 years old this year. So I'm one of these guys that's caught in between. And I think it's really a valuable place for me to be, because when I went to college, we had no internet. It was getting developed. We were just starting to get floppies and CD-ROMs in the mail from AOL and Netscape and Prodigy. And then email became a more mainstream thing. So I think one of the benefits that I have from a visualization standpoint is I've watched how all of this stuff has been built and grown. So it makes it easier for me to recognize trends that I think are going to take off, moving forward. But I'm interested in your input, Abe. I mean, you're half my age.
Yeah, I've been kind of surprised to see how universal these platforms are. To me, it's less about the platform and more about what's actually getting put out there. And you see it, depending. I know people that are in their 60s and 70s that are on TikTok. It's more about the content itself that seems to resonate with people.
Yeah, I've always said, Chris, if you're consistent in putting out good content, your audience will always find you regardless of what platform you're on. I mean, that's why you have to, in my opinion, and certainly you can correct me if you think I'm wrong, but that's why I feel like you need to figure out how to tailor your content for each one of the platforms. I'm relatively active on LinkedIn more than anywhere else, I would say. But the content I put on LinkedIn is not the same content that I put on Facebook. So the people who follow me on LinkedIn get a lot more professional, David, whereas the people who follow me on Facebook get more family and all of that stuff. And I've always said, to be successful in this endeavor, you have to have professional credibility and you have to have social credibility. And I think that, I've done a fairly decent job of building that. And the reason I say that is because when I go anywhere, like this weekend, man, we had 130 people at our conference in Key West, and I probably had never met 60 of them in person before. But yet they come to the conference, they spend a lot of money to get there. And it's like we've known each other our entire lives because we follow each other through this journey digitally that we didn't have the ability to do before.
It's true that you can put content on any platform, but it's undeniable that each platform has a moment in time where there's significantly more upside than any other place on the internet. And so if you can think back to me starting my company in 2019, I basically tested three things. I wrote blogs for SEO. I posted content on Instagram, and I posted content on LinkedIn. And within 60 days, it was obvious that I'm going to stop writing blogs. I'm going to stop posting on Instagram, and I'm going to start posting on LinkedIn twice a day, every day. And there's a recognition here that if you're able to identify that land grab, so to speak, you're able to bear a lot of there's a lot of people that have 1 million followers on Instagram, but all of the following was built between 2015 and 2017 when people weren't using Instagram in the same way, or they've transitioned now to Reels. Instagram launched a new feature like Stories or Reels, and they're able to take advantage of a platform shift. And so I think there is a value in being selective between the audience, the platform, and then the content type and medium that you're putting in. And if you can find a match on that, I found a match on video content, short form video content on LinkedIn in late 2019. And I've continued to use that as the main driver of my company. We've expanded now. So now we're active on about five platforms on a weekly or daily basis. But if I had done the exact same thing, and instead of going all in on LinkedIn, I had gone all in on writing blogs, there's no way my company would be this big. There's no way you would have noticed me and invited me to your podcast. There's no way super talented people want to join my company. There's no way the biggest companies in the world want to be my customer. And so I think I want to enunciate that point. And I was talking about it in 2019. I was telling people, hey, it was August 9th, 2019, where I fully committed to that platform 100%. And a lot of people, quote unquote, saw the opportunity. There's very few people that really executed and capitalized in the same way that I did. And so being able to recognize that opportunity and then take advantage of it, I think is a key thing that can drive accelerated success.
So why do you think that you've been so successful on LinkedIn? Granted, you've got your content tailored for it. You've been consistent, but the biggest thing that we always hear, or I hear, Abe, I'd be interested in your 2 cents on this too, is, nobody wants to go to LinkedIn anymore because there's too much spam on the direct messages and everything else. Where my perspective is, if you're really good, you're going to stand out even more when you've got a bunch of people doing a crappy job. So if you are genuine, sincere, authentic with your content and consistent in getting it out, I think you're going to bypass all the stuff that's turning people off. And I think LinkedIn as a platform, I have no statistics to back this up, so I'll just go ahead and throw that out there. But the feel of it is it has way more velocity than it did, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. I feel like enough people stayed committed. There's a lot, there's some dumpster fires out there, but I think by and large, it's serving its purpose at this point.
Yeah, I mean, how I was able to recognize and capitalize on LinkedIn is that I started doing Facebook organic for a B2B company in 2015. I started running B2B Facebook ads, account-based marketing on Facebook in 2016. I started expanding that to Instagram and YouTube in 2017 and 18. And so by spending a lot of time, I've seen the platform sort of life cycles, and somewhere around 2017, maybe 2018, LinkedIn transitioned from a recruiting tool and a resume platform to a content platform that does recruiting and resumes. And that shift that they made was incredibly smart as a company. And being able to see that, hey, now LinkedIn is actually acting like a social network, just like Facebook and Instagram had when I was able to take advantage of those, 3 to 5 years ago. Now I'm going to be able to take advantage of that now.